Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mali. If you're new here, I like to do a little mix of books and lifestyle in this little channel of mine. And for today's video, I'm super excited because we are going to be reading my most anticipated releases of 2024. These are some physical arcs that were sent to me over the past couple of months, and I'm super grateful for that. These are causing me stress. Because they are all releasing in the month of May and I haven't read not one. Yeah, we have some catching up to do. I will go through this stack with you guys very quickly and like read the blurb with you guys. And also I got some NetGalley arcs that I also want to get to. So we'll see. We'll see how much I read. I'll just read for this entire month. The first book on my little stack is Perfume and Pain by Anna Dorn. And I'll go ahead and read you guys the blurb. The TV starlet who's dying to work with her, the nosy neighbor who can't get enough, the flirtatious fan who becomes obsessed. These are the women in author Astrid Dahl's life. Freshly cancelled, Astrid finds herself unable to write another novel. To make matters worse, she is back in the Sapphic Scribes, the Soon Writers group she co-funded before she was published. It almost feels like nothing will get her writing again, not even her love of perfume. The mounting pressure causes Astrid's worst vice to rear its head, the Patricia Highsmith, a blend of amphetamines, alcohol, and cigarettes that leads to blackouts and a disturbing series of events. With all these women orbiting around her, her bad behavior is about to get worse. Will Astrid find success in her career? Will she ever find true love? Or will she only know perfume and pain? Okay, this sounds so good. I remember when this was sent over to me that the author pitched this as like a 1950s lesbian pulp fiction. Honestly, I'll probably pick this one up first because this one was sent to me all the way back in December. Just to give everyone else a fair chance, I'll read the synopsis of all the other books and then we'll make the final decision. The next book is Oye. I'll read you guys the blurb right now. Luciana is the baby of her large Colombian-American family, and despite usually being relegated to the sidelines, she now finds herself as the only voice of reason in the middle of their unexpected crisis. Her older sister, Mari, is away at college and reduced to a mere listening ear on the other end of the phone. So when South Florida residents are ordered to evacuate before a hurricane, it's up to Luciana to deal with her eccentric grandmother, Abu, who's refusing to leave. But the storm isn't the only danger. Abu, normally glamorous and full of life, is given a crushing medical diagnosis. While she preferred to ignore it and focus on upholding her reputation and her looks instead, the news sets Abu on her own personal journey, with Luciana reluctantly along for the ride. As Luciana chronicles the events of her upended senior year to Mari on the phone, Abu moves into her granddaughter's bedroom and their complicated bond intensifies. Luciana would rather be skating or sneaking out to meet girls, but Abu's wild demands and rowdy antics are a welcome distraction from Luciana's misguided mother, absent sister, and uncertain future. Forced to step into the role of a caretaker, translator, and keeper of the devastating secrets that Abu begins to share, Luciana suddenly finds herself center stage, facing down adulthood and rising to the occasion. This sounds really good. I really like reading Latin American fictions. Yeah, it says it's structured as a series of one-sided phone calls. So this sounds interesting, to be honest. The last book on my physical arc TBR is Housemate. I'm really excited about this one because first, the cover is gorgeous. I know this is something about a road trip, platonic friendships, and like community living. The synopsis says, when Bernie replies to Leah's ad for a new housemate in Philadelphia, the two begin an intense and uncategorizable friendship based on a mutual belief in their art and one another. Both aspire to capture the world around them, Leah through her writing, Bernie through her photography. After Bernie's former photography professor, the renowned yet tarnished Daniel Dunn, dies and leaves her a complicated inheritance, Leah volunteers to accompany Bernie to his home in rural Pennsylvania, turning the jaunt into a road trip with an ambitious mission: to document America through words and photographs. What ensues is a 3-week journey into the heart of the nation, bringing the artist into conversation with people from all walks of life, the absurd dreamers and failures of this wide, wide country, as they try to make sense of the times they are living in. Along the way, Leah and Bernie discover what it means to pursue their own ideas and dreams and to embrace what they are capable of, both romantically and artistically. So that was Housemates, and it sounds so good. I'm honestly so excited for this one because it was also compared to All This Could Be Different, and it featured a very great platonic friendship and like community. I'm really excited for this one. But now we're going on to NetGalley, and the first arc I have is We Were the Universe. This hypnosis says the trip was supposed to be fun when Kit's best friend gets dumped by his boyfriend. He begs her to ditch her family responsibilities for a weekend in the Montana mountains. They'll soak in hot springs, then sneak a vape into a dive bar and drink too much, like old times. Instead, their getaway only reminds Kit of everything she's lost lately: her wildness, her independence, and most heartbreaking of all, her sister Julie. When she returns to the Dallas suburbs, Kit tries to settle into her routine. Long afternoons spent caring for her little daughter, going on therapist-advised dates with her concerned husband, and reluctantly taking her mother's phone calls. But in the secret recesses of Kit's mind, she's reminiscing about the band she used to be in, and how they go out to the desert after shows and drop acid. She's imagining an impossible threesome with her kids' pretty gymnastics teacher and the cool playground mom. Keyed into everything that might distract from her surfacing pain, Kit spirals. As her already thin boundaries between reality and fantasy blur, she begins to wonder, is Julie really gone? I can't believe I was invited for that e-arc. I have to read that. I have to read that ASAP. Okay, now I have one more e-arc that I would like to get through, but this is a big maybe because I feel like reading 4 books will already make this vlog so long. So we'll see if I get to this one, but I'll read the synopsis for you guys anyways. So that perhaps maybe we'll read this book is Ghost Roots by Femi Aguda. This is a short story collection set in Lagos, Nigeria. And in Manifest, a woman sees the ghost of her abusive mother in her daughter's face. Shortly after, the daughter is overtaken by wicked and destructive impulses. In Breast Milk, a wife forgives her husband for his infidelity. Months later, when she is unable to produce milk for her newborn, she blames herself for failing to uphold her mother's feminist values and doubts her fitness for motherhood. In Things Boys Do, a trio of fathers find something unnatural and unnerving about their infant sons. As their lives rapidly fall to pieces, they begin to fear that their sons are the cause of their troubles. And in 24 Alhaji William Street, a teenage boy lives in the shadow of a mysterious disease that's killing the boys on his street. These and other stories in Ghost Root map emotional and physical worlds that lay bare the forces of family, myth, tradition, gender, and modernity in Nigerian society. Okay, honestly, that sounds really good. I'll try my best to get to this book, but again, this is a probably maybe, but I just want to highlight it and see if you guys are interested in it. Just imagine We Were the Universe up here as a 4th book, but these are the books that we'll be reading in this vlog. And after reading all the synopsis and seeing my choices, I think I'll still go ahead and choose Perfume and Pain as our first read for this vlog.
Blue sky come bearing up before us. We hang on the hem of your gown. Blue sky come, promise not to leave us. Tarry not to our town. There's a darkness in the valley.
Hi, I just did something that I've never ever done in my entire life. I stayed up until 3 a.m. to finish Perfume and Pain by Anna Dorn. When I tell you that this has never happened to me, but I literally could not stop. Oh my god, it was so good. But I read this much yesterday. So as you guys can tell, I love this book. I couldn't stop reading. I really enjoyed the narrative voice in Perfume and Pain. It was so fun, so hilarious. That is also to say that the narrative voice is Astrid. I really liked Astrid as a character. She was the perfect amount of like messed up and wrong, but I was really rooting for her the entire time. I wanted her to be healthier. I wanted her to choose better partners for herself. I wanted her to have the love that she deserved. I love that so much. Oh my gosh. Also, really funny, I had a giant misunderstanding at the start of this book because the marketing of this book said it was like a 1950s lesbian pulp fiction. So in my head, I thought, oh, Pulp Fiction, Quentin Tarantino. Duh. And it's not that, it's lesbian pulp fiction, which is a literary genre that was really popular in like the 1950s and 60s. But honestly, this book was filled with as much sex and drugs as a Quentin Tarantino film. Happy misunderstanding, I learned a whole new book genre. That was another thing that I really liked about Perfume and Pain, that while it was filled with so many like pop culture references, they felt timeless to me because it wasn't like a cringy TikTok type of trend that was popular for like 2 seconds. Now, this book also made me discover the artist Cat Powers because there's this very, very cute scene where Astrid and the neighbor that she also hates goes to a Cat Powers concert, and I was very curious about the artist, and I put on a song that they were listening to during the concert, and it felt really cool because I felt like I was in the concert with them. So yeah, I like Cat Powers now, and this book, of course, it was just so messy and sexy and just plain hot. Yeah, really, really enjoyed this one. Be on the lookout for this one when it comes out on May 21st. Like, look at this cover, so sexy. That was Perfume and Pain. Honestly, I'm still in shock that I read over 200 pages in a day. But when I tell you that this book was so readable and so hard to put down, I mean it. When an anticipated book turns out to be just what you thought and even more, yeah, really, really happy. Now that we're done with Perfume and Pain, I thought we would continue with the TBR, and I really want to read Housemates next. This has just been calling my name because it's about a road trip. There's queer love, there's platonic love, and it just sounds really, really good. So I thought we could start this together at a cafe. I'm really craving a latte, and it's such a sunny day out that I really just want to sit in the sun. And I want to read at my favorite spot. So let's go.
Open air, side by side we sway there in all the colors. Summer love, lonesome dove, folded on the lawn chair in all the
Hey there, friends. It's been a little bit. I actually took a little break from filming this vlog because I was in New York City last week. I didn't get as much reading done as I wanted to. I was much busier running around than I thought I would. But yeah, vlogs from New York City are already up. I'll like put an info card up here. Did get some reading done at the airplane. Finished Housemates. This is a road trip novel. We follow Bernie and Leah as they become roommates and then sort of become like romantic partners. Both of them are creatives. Bernie is the photographer and Leah is a writer. They have the idea to combine their artistic talents and do something out of that. And so they decide to go on a little American road trip and explore the American countryside, meet lots of amazing people. And I really, really love that concept and that aspect of the book. I will say though that it takes a little bit to get to that part. Like the road trip does not start until like page 130, 150. So it's a little bit slow in the beginning, but I'm glad I kept on with this because yeah, I really did like it a lot more towards the end. Being in the car with Bernie and Leah was like such an absolute joy. I wanted to keep on the road like Leah and Bernie did. Another thing that I really liked about this novel was the relationships it explored in this novel. It explored Bernie and her roommates because she lived with like five other people besides Leah, and then the relationship between Bernie and Leah because they started as friends and then they became a little something more. There was also a really interesting relationship between Bernie and her photography professor. He was outed as being a creep. He has sexual assault allegations against him. And the book explored how those allegations tainted Bernie's relationship with her mentor and friend. I do have to admit that I didn't love the narrative choice. It was in third person, and so it was a person removed from Bernie and Leah who was narrating their story. I just didn't like it because it felt really impersonal, and I didn't feel as close to Bernie and Leah as I would have liked. But yeah, this was definitely a quiet sort of book. It's one that will linger in your mind long after you're done with it. I really thought it was a beautiful like exploration about community, love, and art. If this is on your radar, I really do think it's worth picking up. That was Housemates. Now we're going ahead and reading Oye by Melissa Mogollon. Hello, hello, hello. Happy May. I hope everyone has a lovely month. I just finished Oye by Melissa Mogollon. I had such a fun time with this one. I was laughing with each and every page of this book up until the very end, even though it gets a little bit sad. Honestly, this book is for like the girls who like to gossip. If you're a chismosera, this book is for you. So our main character is Luciana. She is a young queer girl living with her family. Her family is Colombian and they currently reside in Florida. And the book starts off with the Maria hurricane coming into Florida and threatening to completely decimate everything. And I live in Puerto Rico. I remember when Hurricane Maria touched down in Puerto Rico. It was an awful time. The fact that grandma did not want to evacuate, I was worried. I was really worried. The formatting of this book is where it really shines and shows its uniqueness. It's so original. It's made up completely of a conversation through the phone from Luciana's point of view. On the other side of the phone is her big sister Mari, who's currently away on university. Luciana really relies on her big sister when shit hits the fan. Her grandma, which they affectionately call Abu, is diagnosed with a illness. At the same time Abu is diagnosed, Luciana is also coming to understand more about her abuela's past and her devastating childhood. Really, it's even though this was full of drama and dark themes like Luciana's queer identity not being taken seriously in the family, or just not being accepted in the family, or her worrying what her grandma will say about her queer identity, her grandma's illness. Even so, it felt like a really light read. Luciana was just really funny as a narrator. I really, really liked her character. Sometimes I need a little break from my darker literary fiction books, and this was definitely that break. But yeah, ultimately, Oye is a very, very sweet coming of age that focuses on family, love, and acceptance. I really had a blast reading this, you guys. I truly honestly did. So if you guys see this in the shelves, I definitely recommend. Now that we're done with Oye by Melissa Mogollon, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up our last book for this vlog, which is going to be We Were the Universe by Kimberly King Parsons. But yeah, this is our last book of the vlog. I originally wanted to read one more e-arc, but I'm just gonna read that off camera on my own. Since we are on deadline, this comes out on May 14th and it's only the first week of May, so I have to go get along with this. I also thought that we could get out of the house for a bit, change up the scenery, because I think I just been reading in my bedroom for a lot of the clips. So in an attempt to not bore you guys, I'm gonna go to a bookstore, grab a coffee, and maybe even look for a new book to buy. Really excited to start this with you guys, so let's go. Hi friends, good morning. So just a little bit ago, I finished We Were the Universe by Kimberly King Parsons. And I have to say that this is for the girls who love the sad girl genre, but also love explorations of motherhood, because it's a combination of both. It's like sad girl literature meets motherhood, and it works out really well. In this book, we follow Kit, who is a former like grunge kid. He goes from shooting LSD to pumping milk on the weekends. Kit is struggling to raise her 4-year-old mischievous daughter because she lost her little sister while she was pregnant. So Kit is still riding the waves of grief. On a trip that's supposed to be healing and calming, instead, Kit is thrown deep into her past and into her grief. She can't stop thinking about her childhood with her sister, her childhood that was filled with drugs, but also she remembers the all girls band she started with her little sister. Just the facts about her sister's death, she blames herself for leaving her sister back home. Yeah, this was really like heartwarming, tender. There's a lot of passages where I couldn't help but laugh. It was also kind of messy and complicated. I felt a lot for Kit as a main character and trying to better herself for her child and for herself, really, and just trying not to repeat mistakes that her own mother did when she was raising her. I also like Kit's daughter in this book. I just love a book with like a fireball type of toddler. You know the type. They're like, they say wild shit and they're just hyperactive. I do have to say though that there were some parts that dragged on and I didn't care much for. Like um, Parsons goes on and on about the LSD trip that Kit and her friends were on all the time, and like how that felt like for them. And I really didn't care that much, but in the end, I did enjoy my time with this one. I'm just not sure I will think about this a lot. I'm honestly, and this is no fault of the book because it did some things that were new, but I am kind of tired of the sad girl lit genre or whatever. It's almost kind of the same thing, but again, this felt a bit new because of the motherhood aspect in this. So I did like this one quite a bit. So yeah, that was We Were the Universe. And that's the end of this reading vlog. I'm really glad with the amount of books that I read for this reading vlog and the amount of arcs that we got through. Some of them I enjoyed more than others, but there were not any duds in this list. So I'm really happy about that. This was filmed over a month and a half, so if things are a little choppy, I apologize, but hope you guys enjoyed anyways, and I'll see you in the next video.